wallet.
U.S. troops in Iraq are reportedly being authorized to target any Iranian operatives found in Iraq and use lethal force. This morning, the White House said it will present evidence proving Iranian agents are in Iraq and targeting our American troops. For more on the story, let's bring in Lawrence Korb, Senior Fellow at the Center for American Progress and former Assistant Secretary of Defense in the Reagan administration. Lawrence, good to see you.
Nice to be with you.
Let me ask you, what do you make of this new aggressive stance by the U.S. military? Previously, there was a policy of essentially catch and release. Now we're planning to just kill them.
Well, basically what it has nothing to do with Iraq, or very little. The main thing is they're trying to send a signal to the Iranians that we're going to combat them, we're going to try and push back so they'll give up their nuclear programs and stop helping Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Well, that's interesting because, you know, we've heard from the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, of course, Peter Pace, who says we keep finding their stuff in Iraq and that Iranian agents are essentially aiding Shia militia groups by giving them the know-how and the material to provide these improvised explosive devices, which are killing our troops. Is that not true?
Well, it certainly is, but the fact of the matter is that these are not the people we came to fight. We didn't go there to fight Shia militia groups, and the problem is to
get... Yeah, but Lawrence, if they're killing our American troops, shouldn't we engage them?
Well, no doubt about it. We have been engaging them. That's not the issue. The issue is how far do you take it? I mean, under the previous program, what they call catch and release, you'd stop them, and of course, if they fire on you directly, I mean, the Saudis, for example, are giving money to the Sunni insurgents, probably to buy those missiles that shot down the helicopter. I mean, all of the countries in the region are involved in one form or another. So the real issue is, what do you hope to gain? It'd be much better if you followed the recommendations of the Iraq Study Group and former Secretary Baker to sit down with the Iranians and talk about what the situation is. The Iranians are going to be involved there whether we like it or not. The question is, you know, how do we manage that?
So you think that there is rather also that it has more to do with sending a regional message, if you will, or sending another message to Iran?
Well, very definitely. Basically, we've refused to negotiate with the Iranians without preconditions, and so what we're trying to do is take on the Iranians and, in a way, deflect the tension from the problems we're having in Iraq. I mean, you know, it's very interesting. I mean, Secretary Rice, who supports this policy, wanted a special person in the Pentagon to make sure this thing doesn't get out of hand. Remember, there are 39,000 Iranians in Iraq. I mean, it's a fact of the matter that they are there, and so the question becomes, obviously you're right, if somebody directly confronts us, we should stop them. If we get somebody directly aiding them, the real question is, where do you stop and how far do you go?
And Lawrence, just quickly, we have heard from the new Defense Secretary, Robert Gates, that there will not be cross-border raids. This does not mean that we're going into Iran. Can we believe that?
Well, I hope so, but if you take a look at the fact we moved another battle group into the Gulf, the fact that the new head of the Central Command, which really deals with ground wars, is a naval aviator, I think is upping the pressure on the Iranians.
That's an interesting point. Lawrence Korb, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And a small town in Texas is